Hi PE 552. This is my last video response for week 8 on the historical trends that impact our vocation. So I'm just going to jump right into it. So the first question is to choose a historical time frame that has impacted my vocation today. So the historical time frame that I chose was the 20th century, specifically the earlier parts of the 20th century, and really highlighting women and women in sports and the evolution of that. And I'm just really interested and really passionate about the movement of women in athletics, and so it always interests me to learn things of that nature. So it in the early 20th century is when you're seeing more and more of women's sports in colleges, and even though there's select few schools and a select few number of sports, we're seeing in the textbook between 1901 and 1907 is when they started to incorporate volleyball, cricket, soccer, and water polo for women. Water polo, that's my sport. So I found it interesting to see the movement and the growth for women and how long it took. And in later chapters, so this is in chapter 14 where it's highlighting the women leaders who kind of advocated for more women athletics and as well as physical education. Some of those women are Blanche Trilling, Mabel Lee, and Agnes Wyman. So they are the ones who kind of were a driving force in the participation of women in athletics. And so as we see it evolved, so I mentioned that was the early 1900s, it wasn't until 1922 where we saw the first Women's Olympic Games that took place in Paris. And so for me, I mean, I've always known the history of my own sport when it comes to the Olympics, and I've always known that our first debut was in 2000 at Sydney. And so just to know that women were first in the Olympics in the 20s to the 2000 in my specific sport, I feel is a really long time in terms of the progression. And so I think that it's important, and I see how much these women have done for all of us today, but I think that there needs to be more, just because of that slow progress. So anyways, that's the time frame that I chose to look at. It's a perfect segue into the second question, which is to select a topic in history and how it's impacted our vocation. And so the topic that's related to women and women in sports would be Title IX. And I've done a lot of research on Title IX, and I've read so many things about it and have learned so much about how it's impacted young girls and women in their participation in athletics. And I think that the more that I've read about it and the more I learn about it, the more that I'm seeing that, yes, Title IX has helped women tremendously. It's given women the opportunity, and because of that, you're seeing a significant increase in participation in sports with girls and women. But like I said, the more I'm looking into it, the more I realize that Title IX gave girls and women the opportunity to participate, and that's the biggest thing, is participation. And while participation is there, we're still seeing inequality and discrimination in other areas when it comes to athletics, and that's staffing, coaching staffing, administration, athletic directors. Those opportunities aren't really in Title IX and those are like the loopholes that people are getting away with. And so you see less and less of women in those types of roles. And then another area is equal pay. And I know we've seen a lot of that with the U.S. women's soccer team, how, I keep saying we, I'm sorry. Women are putting their foot down and they're taking a stand and they're demanding change and equality. And so I think we're starting to come out of the shell of accepting the norm for what it is and really dissecting what things really are and wanting change. So much like these women in the early 1900s, more and more women are coming out and demanding equality. So it's given us a platform. There I go with us again. It has given women a platform to continue the fight for equality. So Title IX has been huge, and it's helped us. It's given women leverage to keep moving forward. And then the last few questions. So based on your knowledge of history and current societal trends, what do you predict will be a future topic of interest or concern? I think that just given the way society is today and the acceptance of people and gender and equality, I think that we're going to start to see more issues related to transgender athletes and deciphering the fairness that involve those types of athletes, because I know a lot of it is the testosterone aspect and what's fair and what's not and what's an advantage and what's not. And so I think that that's going to be a very hot topic in the near future. I believe that this will be an issue because we're starting to see it more and more. Right now, they're just little stories that you hear about, but I think that the more society makes an importance of choosing a gender, then I think the more people are going to want to change and make those decisions. And so when it comes to athletics, that's going to be a hot topic. So that is my video response. Thank you for watching for a whole 8 minutes. I've had a great time in this class. I hope everyone else has too. So I wish everyone a great last week and a very Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.